We cannot work with the Yoruba people. They are betrayers to us. We risked our life, voted, did everything. This is what we get.
What is Asari Dokubo trying to say?
I feel that I apologize to our fathers like Abaduri, like Medford of Kilo, that they were not wrong in forming an alliance with the North. And as young men, we will now start that same alliance now. As I am today, from today, I will work and form alliance with the North and to crush all of the opposition. Because those who hate us, whatever we do for them does not mean anything to them. Whatever job people do to them does not mean anything to them. We go all over each other. We will take this message that it's only the Northerners that can work with the job people. We cannot work with the Yoruba people. They are betrayers to us. We risked our life, voted, did everything. This is what we get.
It is all about the price for falsehood. You know, most of the time when I am doing video, I talk more about the price for falsehood because we are living in total falsehood. People do things because they are going to benefit from it. Asari Dokubo, who told us before that he's not a Nigerian and he has never been a Nigerian, that he is a Biafran. What happens today? Because he was brainwashed, they paid him money, they trained him, they gave him some, amnesty for him to do whatever he wants. Just that is his interest against the interest of his people. After some time now, falsehood, as I say, will not last for a very long time. No matter what you are benefiting from falsehood, before you know it will end. The falsehood that Asari Dokubo is leveraging is ending. Very soon, Asari Dokubo will return to this.
I've never been a Nigerian. Nations are not created by force or fiat. They are created by the people. The people's acceptance to be British. You saw Scotland trying to vote yes or no. Today, no Scottish man can say, I'm not a Briton, because majority of Scottish people have accepted to remain in the British Union under the British flag. Nothing like that had happened in Nigeria. We have demanded for us to be together. No lugard is needed to bring all of us together. What is needed is for us to sit down in a sovereign national conference.
So why not advocate for that instead of moving away completely?
We have been demanding for 30 years. I've been regular and I've been demanding for a sovereign national conference. People had opportunity to talk, but it was not sovereign. It had no power. It only have persuasive, advisory. No, what we want is an holistic national conference. A conference that the people will have the power to say, we don't want to be Nigerian. This is how we want Nigeria to be. We don't want a situation where somebody will arrogate to himself the power to decide the fate of other people. We want a Nigerian that recognizes that there are different nations, no matter how small they are, and they are accorded the same space in Nigeria.
You seem very passionate about Nigeria, and I find that very contradictory with you saying that you're not Nigerian. How do you balance that out, being so passionate and wanting all of these good things about this country?
No, if they say if you cannot beat them, you join them. How about not every one of us will join them? Look, what we're saying is about justice. It's about my identity as an Ijaw man. A lot of Nigerians talk nonsense on television. A Nigerian come on television and says, do not talk about ethnicity. So if I am no longer an Ijaw man, what do I become? I become a nobody. Don't talk about religion, politics. Ancestrally, I have Igbo blood flowing in my vein because my ancestors, one of my ancestors came from Abom in Abam. And today, I sit on that stool established by him as Alabo Diabal of the Kingdom of Calabar. Now, when you talk about democracy, it gives you a lot of choices. It is you to decide. Nobody is going to quarantine your decision. Nobody is going to give you to tell you that, look, there is a no-go area for your decision making.
The Asari Dokubo that was telling Charlie Boy that don't you know that Nigeria is not for you? Nigeria is not for the East. Nigeria is not for the Igbos. Nigeria is not for the South. That Nigeria doesn't belong to them. He's the same Asari Dokubo today that is trying to, swallow his own vomit by saying that he don't want to work with Yoruba people. What went wrong? As I said before, it is still the price for falsehood. This country is living in falsehood, and the only thing that we can do to save people from this falsehood is to divide this country. I have said it time without number, is to divide this country. Now, 5 years ago, during the time of Muhammadu Buhari, Deji Adeyanju, that time he's not a lawyer, he was talking about how Buhari created Fulani radios in compensation to Fulanis that imported into Nigeria. Take a listen.
Controversy has continued to through the introduction, or should we say the establishment of Fulani radio for the Fulanis in Nigeria. What's your reaction on to this?
Well, it's very simple. Nigeria does not belong to either the Fulanis or the Kanuris or the Yorubas or the Igbos. Nigeria is a secular state, and this was stated in Section 10 of the Constitution that the country is a secular state, is not a Fulani republic, and therefore I think it's something that is very wrong completely. And I don't know who is advising this government, but whoever is advising this government, they do not even care about the optics, and that is very worrisome. We have the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, there. So if they feel that they needed a program, for the Fulanis, they will have just given them some, radio time, an hour on that platform of government, and that will have been enough. We also have the National Orientation Agency, there. We have so many of their offices in the northern part of the country. So I do not see why the federal government needs to use federal government funds to establish an ethnic radio. It's a very, very bad, exercise, and that's why it gives credence to some of the allegations that former President Olusegun Obasanjo has made, that there seems to be an agenda to Fulanize the country.
Yeah, I was going to ask that about Obasanjo, because first it was 100 billion naira for the Miyetti Allah, which even the federal government has come out to deny, even though people are still insisting that they promised them the money. And now the radio station for the Fulanis. How would you agree with Obasanjo on this?
Shouldn't the federal government, since the federal government is in an act of generosity, shouldn't the federal government also establish a radio station for the Okun-speaking people of Kogi State? Shouldn't they establish a radio station too for the Nupes? Shouldn't they establish why are the Fulani so important that the federal government of Nigeria need to establish a radio station?
Considering that Fulani is not a major language.
Exactly. Because it seems the president doesn't really care about the mood of the country. The Fulani headsmen have been labeled to be the fourth deadliest terrorist group in the world. You understand? These guys have caused havoc almost everywhere they have gone. Look at how violent the president was against IPOB. Hundreds of them were killed. Shouldn't we be killing Fulani headsmen instead of giving them a radio station? You understand? So if the president was so emotional about killing members of IPOB, and he went further to designate them as terrorists, and also prescribe IPOB, shouldn't we prescribe Fulani headsmen? Shouldn't we, also designate them as terrorist organizations in this country? They've killed and killed and killed and continue to kill. So why compensate bad behavior? You understand? So this is some of the questions that we need to ask ourselves as citizens of our country, and these are the reasons why people have serious doubt about the country. And this is why, again, you cannot blame those who no longer have faith in the country, on the leadership of the country. It's unfortunate, as citizens of our country, we must continue to have faith in the country. But, Nigeria is passing through such a very, trying times.
Talking about Nigeria, you tweeted.
Now, are you surprised to hear something like this? This is about 5 years ago. So, when you see the House of Representatives, Northern, index trying to expand the Sharia law and so on and so forth, it is something that has been on for ages. It's not something that is new. So that is important of this video from Deji Adeyanju that you just watched, that this is just an agenda maybe to make people to come under your own religion and under your own influence. Just imagine, I'm saying this time with that number that Nigeria needs division. Because how can we have Sharia law, Sharia court, Sharia police, when we don't have the Christians own, the Ecclesia own, the Jewish own, we don't have it, and we say Nigeria is a secular state. That is a falsehood. Nigeria is not a secular state. If Nigeria is a secular state, there is no need for the Sharia law because it is a secular state. This is a troublesome. Anyway, take a listen to Naya Baribe on the state of the nation.
Let me just put it this way. My constituents, as far as they are concerned, nothing has changed. Secondly, if you go out on the street, because this time I'm going to say that my constituents are all the oppressed and all the people, they don't call it renewed hope. They call it renewed shege. They're in trouble. And we see it and we really don't know where we're going with it. I represent Abia South, part of the Southeast. And so the Southeast, we're looking at the changes. So what are the changes for the Southeast? You remove one minister for the Southeast, you replace with another minister. So what do we have? This President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria breaching the Constitution and going on as if it does not matter that he's breaching the Constitution.
And meaning the reflection of the federal sort of spread.
Precisely.
Right.
Precisely. Section 14.3 and 14.4 of the Constitution is very clear. It's also a mandatory provision of the federal government. And so the president has breached it for the past 18 months plus and does not seem to want to, because we thought that with these changes, maybe there will be some adjustments that will also put some balm on what is going on in the minds of people from the Southeast. And sometimes when I discuss with my friends in the administration, the first thing they ask me, you Igbos, what do you want? I want to tell everyone, what do the Igbos want? Fairness and equity, which is in the Constitution. That's all that we want. Treat us as you're treating everybody else. The Igbo ethos is Egbe bere, Ugo bere. Let the hawk and the eagle perch. Let no one oppress the other. Every Igbo person is imbued inside us. So anytime that an Igbo person sees that you're not treating him fairly, they come out. And so for the Southeast, as far as they are concerned, okay, you can change, but like the French say, plus ça change, plus ça même chose. The more things change, the more they remain the same.
Right. So basically, your assessment is that the Southeast has been shortchanged in this latest
from beginning.
Right.
From beginning. Okay. What does this Constitution say? The Constitution says that you have to have one minister per state. Now, from the Obasanjo government, they started having 42 because they have one for zone. But even President Buhari, that did not, as far as we know, have any empathy for the Southeast, still gave one more minister to the Southeast. And so, but what do we have today? Just that 5 for the 5 states of the Southeast. So, when our people say this is renewed shege, that means that we're even worse off than we were before now. And so if you're just going to give us only that thing that the Constitution stipulates for us, yet some zones, there are 6, have 10 ministers, some have 9, some have 7. You want to ask yourself, is it fair? Is it just? Is it equitable? If it's not, then if you now tell us, okay, you're doing well for us, we'll wait for tomorrow. As far as the Southeast is concerned, waiting for Godot.
Right. So the issue you have is that it's not whether or not there's one minister from each southeastern state. It's the fact that other states have more ministers.
No, not the other states, the zones. You know,
right.
We have 6 geopolitical
Yes.
zones. So you don't treat one geopolitical zone as if it's an appendage of every other one. That is just what I'm saying. And President Tinubu has the responsibility to make things right. So when you come in saying, I'm going to make things right, I'm doing things, and yet you still continue, I don't think that anybody will be happy with that.
How much political traction is the president likely to get in the southeast from the appointment of Bianca Ojukwu, who is the widow of the former Biafran leader, Emeka Ojukwu, as a minister? Will that win Mr. Tinubu plaudits in that region, or will they just roll their eyes? I mean, she is actually, I mean, her husband, the late husband, founded the party that you're a member of.
Yes, of course. I'm a member of ABGA. She's also a key member of ABGA. But I think that she deserves to be a minister in her own right. But making her a minister is not meant for the Southeast. You know, the point really is that, well, maybe those who are advising Mr. President are not giving him the proper advice. Like I said, what the Southeast want is, do to me the way you are doing to others.
Right. So what would have
you can give to her. She deserves it. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But that will not bring the Southeast to say, okay, because you have given to her, therefore it has covered all the anomalies.
So what would have satisfied you?
What would have satisfied us is, okay, fine. You have 50 ministries. You're sharing it by 6. What does that give everybody? At least each zone will get 8. At least. But then some are more, some are less, or at least each zone will get 7. Just like that. That will have now told everybody that you're even-handed. But when you even go beyond that, look at what Section 14.3 says. Section 14.3 says that you will have to run the state in a manner that does not show a preponderance of this from one zone. So what do we have today? The whole of the economy is in the hands of one zone. CBN, this, that, finance, everybody. Just check it. And so you ask yourself, is this what is contained in the Constitution? Section 14.4 also even says that you ought to do things so that you do not make others feel that they are not taken care of. So, as far as we are concerned, we don't think that they are getting it right.
You know, the problem that I notice in this country is that everybody has a beef. It doesn't matter which part of the country you... No, seriously. It doesn't matter which part of the country you... If you go to the north right now, they have... I mean, what you're talking about, how many ministers they got or whatever, is just, as far as I'm concerned, it's completely irrelevant.
No. You just asked about the minister. I'm dealing with that. But if you come to another area, I'll also deal with that.
Well, let's go to another area, because, I mean, another area that people have a lot of problems with is the National Assembly, of which you're a member. In fact, you've been a member, that you're one of the, longest serving senators by today's standards.
Sure.
Or certainly members of the National Assembly. Sure. And for example, Bianca Ojukwu has just been nominated. Her nomination, along with the others, will now move to the Senate, where you work, for approval.
Yes.
Or, as some believe, to be rubber stamped, because many Nigerians believe that the National Assembly and the Senate simply rubber stamps everything the president does.
Well, let me put it this way. Every leadership of the National Assembly tends to stamp their own
imprimatur
on it. And so if the leadership today feels that they need to work closely with the president, then that may be what will seem to be like this. But don't forget one crucial fact. Most of the members of this 10th National Assembly were new So they had not imbibed the ethos that we are actually a different arm of government.
Well, aren't they supposed to be given training and stuff?
Well, you get the training, but you get it by doing.